Being harassed is just an awful, isolating experience. But what happens when the person doing it is in a whole other country? It can make you feel completely and utterly powerless. And trust me, it's a situation we see way too often. And that distance, it gives them this false sense of security, right? Like they're completely untouchable. And for you, on the receiving end, it can feel like you've got absolutely nowhere to turn, no options at all. But here's the thing. That feeling of being powerless, it's just not true. It's based on a huge misconception. Distance is not a shield. And if the person harassing you is here in the UK, we have some really powerful legal tools at our disposal to protect you no matter where you are in the world. So to really show you what I mean, let's just dive into a real-world case we handled. I think seeing how it works in practice makes it all so much clearer. And this story, well, it involves some pretty serious stuff. Threats, racial abuse, and a massive invasion of privacy. Okay, so here's the setup. Our client, a professional woman working in New York, started dating a guy who was always traveling back and forth between the US and the UK. The problem was, she had no idea he had a long-term girlfriend based right here in the UK. And when that girlfriend found out about our client, a just relentless campaign of harassment started. And get this, it was from someone our client had never, ever met. And this wasn't just, random angry messages. The threat was incredibly specific. I will destroy your career. It was targeted, it was malicious, and it was designed to hit our client right where she was most vulnerable, her professional life. And honestly, this is such a common tactic. It's all about causing real-world damage, not just emotional pain. And things escalated fast. It went from threatening WhatsApp video calls to just this constant stream of abusive messages, even including racial slurs. The harasser then took it a step further, claiming she had access to our client's private phone chats. I mean, can you imagine? What a terrifying violation of privacy. All while the threats against her career just kept coming. And even though this person was thousands of miles away, the psychological toll was immediate and profound. Our client felt like her privacy was just gone. She started to genuinely fear for her reputation and even her physical safety. And that's the thing about online harassment, isn't it? The borders might be there on a map, but they don't matter. The fear is absolutely real. So you might be thinking, how on earth do you fight back against something like that? Well, this is where the law gives us a way forward. It all comes down to a legal concept called jurisdiction. And here is the absolute key point. In cases like this, what matters most isn't where you are, it's where your harasser is. Okay, first things first, let's quickly talk about what harassment actually means under UK law. The law here, it's called the Protection from Harassment Act, is actually really broad on purpose. It's not about whether something is true or false. It's about a course of conduct, basically persistent, unwanted stuff that causes alarm, distress, or fear. And believe me, it is taken very seriously. It's both a civil and a criminal offense. This little chart really breaks it down. Look, if the person harassing you is physically in the United Kingdom, it honestly does not matter where you are. You could be in New York, Sydney, Tokyo, anywhere in the world. UK law applies, and that means we can use it to protect you. So the big takeaway here is really simple. Their location is the key that unlocks your protection. And one of our lawyers put it perfectly. They said, harassment is treated as occurring where the victim feels distress, but we were able to proceed under UK law because the harasser was based in England. See? While your distress is what matters, it was her location in England that gave us the legal authority to step in and act for our client. Okay, so it's one thing to know the law is on your side, but it's another thing to use it effectively, right? Our number one goal is always to avoid dragging our clients through a stressful, expensive court case. Nobody wants that. That's why we have this really strategic, layered approach. It's all designed to get the quickest result with the least amount of stress for you. It's a pretty straightforward three-step strategy. Step 1, we serve a formal cease and desist letter. Now, this is not just a polite note asking them to stop. It's a serious legal warning that spells out exactly what they're doing wrong and what will happen if they don't stop. Step 2, we often offer something called a legal undertaking. I'll explain that in just a moment. And if for some reason the behavior still continues, step 3 is a final, really forceful warning that court proceedings are about to begin. So what on earth is a legal undertaking? Think of it like this. It's a legally binding contract. The harasser signs it and voluntarily agrees to stop everything, all contact, all harassment. The beauty of it is that it has similar power to a court injunction, but you don't have to go through the whole court process. It's an incredibly powerful tool for getting our clients their peace of mind back fast. So let's go back to our client in New York. How did this all play out for her? Well, it wasn't a walk in the park. As you can see, we actually tried to serve the legal letter twice, and it didn't work. But we don't give up. On the third try, we got it to her, and she signed the undertaking. And for months, silence. It was great. But then she broke the agreement and sent new messages. So we didn't hesitate. We immediately hit her with that second, much more forceful warning, making it crystal clear that court was the very next step. And that final, forceful action,
That was the turning point. This is where you see the strategy really pay off. Our client, who had been living with this constant fear, was finally about to get the resolution she absolutely deserved. And just like that, the harassment stopped. I mean, completely. That second warning did the trick. Our client was finally able to breathe again and move on with her life, and she had the peace of mind of knowing she had strong legal support right there in her corner if anything ever happened again. So, what are the big things to take away from this story? Number one, and this is huge, do not assume you're helpless. Cross-border harassment can be stopped. Number two, remember the golden rule. If your harasser is in the UK, our laws can protect you wherever you are. And finally, a smart, layered legal approach is almost always the best way to go. Because at the end of the day, getting your peace of mind back, well, that's the only thing that really matters. As our lawyers often say, this case is just a textbook example of how this process works. A really strong, clear cease and desist letter, backed up by the very real threat of court action, is often all it takes to bring this kind of nightmare to an end. You shouldn't have to go through a long, drawn-out battle just to get your life back. So, if any of what we've talked about today sounds familiar, if you're feeling isolated, maybe even powerless because of someone in another country, please remember this. You have options. You have more power than you think. The only question left to ask yourself is, isn't it time you got your peace of mind back?